For 3 long centuries, history was haunted by a very strange disease. It wasn't like the plague or cholera, which devastated the poor. No, this was an exclusive illness, a VIP affliction. It snubbed the peasantry, but it hunted down the most powerful men on earth. It brought King Henry VIII to his knees. It tortured Benjamin Franklin. It was a peculiar sign of high status, yet those who had it said it felt like walking on red-hot iron. Why did the world's wealthiest people seem to be paying a fortune to poison themselves? What was this mysterious ailment? The answer, incredibly, was right there on their dinner plate. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the painful history of a condition known as the disease of kings and the rich man's disease. You might know it today as gout. It's a story of luxury excess, and a lesson that's just as relevant now as it was 300 years ago. So grab a glass of water, and you'll soon see why I specifically said water, and let us get started. Let's set the scene. Imagine you're a wealthy aristocrat in the 17th or 18th century. Life is good. You have land, titles, and a level of comfort unimaginable to the average person. But your daily life is also a minefield of health hazards, many of which you willingly embrace. First up, hydration. Today, we're told to drink 8 glasses of water a day. Back then, water was for the poor, and frankly, it was dangerous. It was often contaminated with all sorts of nasty things, leading to diseases like typhoid and cholera. So, what did the rich drink instead? Alcohol, and lots of it. Wine, port, beer, and ale were staples with every single meal, starting from breakfast. They were considered safer, cleaner, and of course, a sign of your wealth. Now, let's talk about the food. If you were a true gentleman, your plate was piled high with meat. We're talking venison, beef, pheasant, swan, all the richest, most decadent proteins you can imagine. Vegetables? That was considered peasant food, something to be avoided. A diet rich in greens was a sign of poverty. So, the aristocratic menu was a constant parade of heavy meats, washed down with copious amounts of alcohol. Sounds like a party, right? Well, for the kidneys, it was a nightmare. This diet was a ticking time bomb. Here's the science bit, simplified. Our bodies produce something called uric acid when they break down purines, which are found in high concentrations in red meat. Organ meats, and certain types of alcohol like beer and port. Normally, your kidneys do a great job of filtering out this uric acid and flushing it from your system. But the aristocratic lifestyle was a perfect storm. The constant influx of purine-rich food and alcohol overwhelmed the kidneys. They simply couldn't keep up. So, what happens when uric acid builds up in your bloodstream? It crystallizes. Under a microscope, these uric acid crystals look exactly like tiny, jagged shards of broken glass. Now, imagine those microscopic needles of glass settling into your joints. They have a particular fondness for the joint of the big toe, but they can also attack the ankles, knees, and hands. This is a gout attack. The pain was described as sudden, excruciating, and utterly debilitating. It felt like the joint was on fire, being crushed or stabbed with 1,000 hot needles. An attack could last for days or even weeks, leaving the person completely incapacitated. And who were the famous victims of this self-inflicted agony? Let's start with King Henry VIII of England. We often picture him as this large, imposing figure, but in his later years, he was plagued by a host of health problems, including severe gout. His leg ulcers were legendary, but it was the gout that often left him immobile and in a foul temper. Considering his diet of endless banquets and his love for wine, it's hardly a surprise. The disease didn't just cause him physical pain. It likely influenced his notorious mood swings and political decisions. Imagine trying to rule a kingdom while feeling like your foot is being roasted over an open flame. Then we have one of America's most brilliant founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. Franklin was a genius, an inventor, a diplomat, and a terrible sufferer of gout. He spent years in Paris as an ambassador, where he fell in love with the high life, the rich food, the fine French wine. He suffered so much that he was often confined to his bed for weeks at a time. But Franklin, ever the intellectual, dealt with his pain in a unique way. He wrote humorous dialogues between himself and his affliction, which he personified as Madame Gout in these witty exchanges. Madame Gout scolds him for his indulgent lifestyle, pointing out that she is the direct result of his choices. Franklin would argue back, but he knew she was right. He understood the connection between his diet and his pain, yet he struggled to give up the pleasures he enjoyed so much. The problem was, even if he knew the cause, the treatments of the era were often useless and sometimes even made things worse. Doctors of the time were working with limited knowledge. A common prescription for a gout attack was ... more wine. Specifically, certain types of wine were thought to have medicinal properties. Other cures involved strange herbal wraps, bloodletting, or applying leeches. They were treating the symptoms, not the cause. They didn't fully grasp that the ultimate cure wasn't in the medicine cabinet, but on the dinner plate and in the wine cellar. The very symbols of a person's wealth and status were the source of their misery. It's a profound irony. For centuries, gout was a disease you couldn't get unless you were rich enough to afford it. So what happened? How did this disease of kings become more common? Fast forward to today. Gout is no longer an exclusive club for the rich and famous. It affects millions of people from all walks of life. Why? Because the aristocratic diet of the 18th century has become accessible to many more of us. Processed foods, sugary drinks, high consumption of red meat, and increased alcohol intake have made the building blocks of gout available to the masses. The disease that once signaled nobility now signals a potential imbalance in our modern diet. But here's the good news. Unlike King Henry or Benjamin Franklin, we know the secret. We understand the science behind uric acid. We know that the cure isn't some magical potion, but moderation. The story of gout is a powerful, if painful, reminder. The finest things in life, good food, good drink, moments of indulgence, are truly best enjoyed in small measures. It's a lesson written in the diaries and letters of kings and presidents, a warning passed down through generations. The history of the disease of kings teaches us that true wealth ain't about endless excess, but about balance and health. It's a reminder that sometimes the most luxurious thing you can do for your body is to drink a simple glass of water and eat your vegetables. So the next time you enjoy a nice steak dinner or a glass of port, maybe raise a silent toast to the kings and nobles of the past. Thank them for their unwitting sacrifice. They suffered through the pain so that we could learn a valuable lesson. Living like a king can sometimes be a real pain in the foot. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this story fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the strange corners of history. Let me know in the comments if you've heard of any other historical diseases with a strange story. See you in the next video.